There is a seafood that ancient coastal civilizations ate every single day for thousands of years. It was cheap, it was abundant. It was pulled from the sea by the netful before sunrise and sold in open markets by the basketful before noon. And somewhere along the way, between the ancient harbors of the Mediterranean and the frozen food aisle of your local grocery store, it was quietly ruined. Not the seafood itself. The seafood is still there, still swimming, still carrying inside it one of the most complete nutritional profiles of any food God ever put in the water. What was ruined was the way we eat it, the way we source it, the way we think about it. By the end of this video, you are going to see this food completely differently. You are going to understand where it came from, what it does inside the human body, and why the version most people buy at the grocery store today is almost nothing like what ancient people pulled from the sea. And there is one more thing. This seafood has a complicated relationship with Scripture, a relationship most people have never fully understood. And resolving that tension, really resolving it, requires going to a rooftop in the ancient city of Joppa on a warm afternoon and watching what happened when God changed everything. Stay with me. Picture the Mediterranean coastline 2,000 years ago. The water is a deep clear blue. The air smells of salt and sun-warmed stone. Along the shore, small wooden boats are already coming in from the morning catch. Men are unloading nets, heavy with silver-gray bodies that catch the light as they move. This was not a luxury food. This was not something reserved for wealthy tables or ceremonial feasts. This was the daily protein of ordinary people. Fishermen, farmers who lived near the coast, laborers, families trying to stretch every meal as far as it would go. They ate it grilled over coals. They ate it dried and salted when fresh was not available. They simmered it in olive oil with garlic and herbs and ate it with their hands beside fires on stone beaches. Ancient Greek fishing communities built their coastal economy around it. Roman ports processed it by the ton. Egyptian fishing families along the Nile Delta ate it as their primary animal protein for centuries. And in the ancient Near East, in the coastal cities of the Levant, in the fishing villages along the shores that the early church spread through like wildfire, this seafood was as ordinary and unremarkable as bread. The food is shrimp, not the shrimp in the frozen bag at the grocery store, not the shrimp soaking in cocktail sauce at a hotel buffet, not the deep-fried shrimp in a fast food basket. Wild shrimp, pulled from the sea whole, eaten the way it was always meant to be eaten, the way your grandmother ate it if she grew up along any coastline in the world before processed food replaced everything her hands already knew. And it is hiding something inside it that most people have never been told. Now I need to stop here. Because if you grew up reading the Bible, you already have a question forming. Shrimp, Leviticus 11 verse 10, whatever in the waters does not have fins and scales that shall be an abomination to you. It is right there, clear as the sea on a still morning. Shellfish are listed as unclean. Shrimp has no fins. Shrimp has no scales. The law was specific. And for centuries, that passage sat in the minds of believers like a closed door. But here is what most people never think about. That door did not stay closed. On a rooftop in the ancient port city of Joppa, the same city where Jonah boarded his ship before everything went sideways, the apostle Peter was praying. It was midday. The sun was high and hot. The smell of the sea drifted up from the harbor below, and Peter fell into a trance. Acts chapter 10, verses 11 to 15. He saw heaven opened, and something like a great sheet descending let down by its four corners to the earth, and in it were all kinds of creatures, animals of every kind. Creatures the law had called clean, and creatures it had called unclean, all of them together in the same sheet, lowered from the same heaven. And a voice said, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." Peter refused. He said he had never eaten anything common or unclean, and the voice answered him, "What God has made clean do not call common." This happened 3 times. Then the sheet was taken back up into heaven. Peter was still thinking about it when 3 men arrived at the gate below, sent by a Roman centurion named Cornelius. And as he went with them, the meaning began to unfold. The vision was about people, the Gentiles, who had been considered outside the covenant. But the principle it established went deeper than that. What God calls clean, do not call unclean. The early church that spread across the Mediterranean coastline understood this. The believers in Antioch, in Caesarea, in Corinth, in Rome, in Alexandria, they lived on coastlines. They ate what the sea gave them. And the seafood the ancient world had always eaten, shrimp included, came back to the table. Peter's vision did not just open a door, it removed the wall entirely. Now let me show you what was behind that wall. Because what God put inside wild shrimp is one of the most important nutritional stories most people in the modern world have never heard. Start with this number: 58 grams of protein per 100 grams of dried wild shrimp. For comparison, chicken breast, one of the highest protein foods most people eat, delivers about 31 grams per 100 grams. Wild shrimp delivers nearly double the protein at a fraction of the calories. It has one of the highest protein-to-calorie ratios of any food on Earth. Not a supplement, not a powder. A seafood that ancient fishing communities ate casually and daily without ever thinking of it as a health food, because they did not need to. They just felt strong. But protein is only the beginning. Wild shrimp is one of the richest sources of iodine available from any whole food on Earth. A single serving delivers over 50% of your daily requirement, and iodine is the mineral most people have never been told enough about. Your thyroid, the small butterfly-shaped gland sitting at the base of your throat, controls your metabolism, your energy levels, your body weight, your mood, and your brain function. Every single one of those things. And your thyroid cannot work without iodine. It literally cannot produce the hormones it needs without it. Iodine deficiency is now recognized as one of the most widespread hidden nutritional deficiencies in the modern world. Not because people are starving, because iodine-rich foods have largely disappeared from modern diets. The coastal fishing communities that ate wild shrimp every day were never iodine deficient. Many inland populations that replace traditional seafood with processed food are. The fatigue that will not lift, the weight that will not move no matter what you eat, the brain fog that sits over every morning like a low cloud. In many cases, these are not mysteries. They are a deficiency in a gland the size of a walnut, fed by a mineral that a handful of shrimp would supply in a single meal. Now, astaxanthin. This is the compound most people have never heard of, and it might be the most important thing in this entire video. Astaxanthin is what gives wild shrimp their pink-red color. It is a pigment produced by the algae and tiny plankton that wild shrimp eat throughout their lives, and it is not a minor antioxidant. Researchers describe it as one of the most powerful antioxidants ever found in any natural food source on Earth, 50 times more potent than vitamin E in protecting cell membranes from oxidative damage, 6,000 times more powerful than vitamin C in neutralizing a specific type of free radical that damages cells from the inside. These numbers surprised the researchers who measured them. Astaxanthin crosses the blood-brain barrier, reaching the brain directly where it protects neurons from the oxidative damage linked to cognitive decline. It crosses the blood-retina barrier, protecting the cells of the eye that most antioxidants cannot reach. It supports the cardiovascular system, the immune system, the skin, and the joints all at once. And wild shrimp delivers it directly, from food. The way God designed food to deliver medicine without a label, without a dosage, without a prescription. The ancient coastal communities that ate wild shrimp every day had no idea this was happening inside their bodies. They just knew it kept them sharp. They just knew it kept them strong. They just knew that the people who ate from the sea looked and moved differently from the people who did not. Now here's the part that changes how you shop. Farmed shrimp does not contain astaxanthin naturally. The algae and plankton that produce it are not part of a farmed shrimp's diet. Some operations add synthetic astaxanthin to feed. It is not the same compound in the same form from the same biological source. The color of wild shrimp tells you it is there. The pale, near-gray color of most farmed shrimp tells you it is not. Two more things worth understanding before I tell you what happened to this food. Selenium. Wild shrimp is one of the richest dietary sources of selenium available from any whole food. A single serving delivers over 60% of your daily requirement. Selenium does two things almost nothing else does as effectively. First, it activates the enzyme your body uses to neutralize the most dangerous free radicals produced by ordinary daily metabolism. Without selenium, that enzyme slows down. Without that enzyme, oxidative damage accumulates faster in every tissue simultaneously. Second, selenium is directly involved in converting thyroid hormones into their active form. We talked about iodine building the thyroid hormone. Selenium is what activates it. You need both. Wild shrimp delivers both in a single serving, something almost no other food does, and vitamin B12. 100 grams of wild shrimp delivers over 70% of your daily B12 requirement. B12 maintains the protective coating around your nerve fibers. It allows your brain to produce the electrical signals that travel to your muscles, your organs, and your memory. After the age of 50, the body's ability to absorb B12 from food begins to decline. That is often when the fatigue deepens, the memory starts to slip. The tingling begins in the hands and feet. Most people blame it on aging. For many, it is simply a deficiency in a vitamin the ancient world never ran short of because they ate wild seafood pulled fresh from the water every single day of their lives. So what happened? How did a seafood this nutritionally complete, this ancient, this accessible, this consistently eaten by healthy coastal people for thousands of years end up in a frozen bag of something that barely resembles what God put in the water? The answer is the same every time. Industrialization arrived, profit decided what we eat, and the most nutritious form of a food was replaced by the most profitable form. Shrimp farming began expanding in earnest through the 1970s and 1980s. By the 1990s, it had spread across Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, China, India on a scale that made wild shrimp seem economically pointless. By the 2000s, the majority of shrimp consumed in the United States was coming from industrial ponds on the other side of the planet. And what happens inside those ponds is nothing like what happens in the sea. Farmed shrimp are raised in dense conditions where disease spreads quickly. Antibiotics are used routinely to manage it in amounts and types that are largely unregulated in many of the countries producing the most shrimp. A 2015 study found antibiotic-resistant bacteria in samples of imported farmed shrimp. The FDA inspects a fraction of incoming seafood. Most of it enters the country without any testing at all. The shrimp that comes off an industrial farm has none of the astaxanthin of wild shrimp, different nutritional profile, antibiotic residues, often raised in water conditions that would not meet basic environmental standards in the countries buying it. This is the shrimp most people eat, frozen, peeled, deveined, pre-cooked, packaged in a bag with a price that seems too good to be true. It is. Wild shrimp pulled from the Gulf of Mexico, from the cold, clean waters of Alaska, from the Pacific Northwest coastline, swims freely, eats what God put in the sea for it to eat, builds astaxanthin in its flesh, and arrives at the market carrying everything the ancient world valued. It costs a little more, not dramatically more, but more. Your grandmother who ate shrimp fresh off a boat did not know about astaxanthin or selenium or thyroid function. She just knew the shrimp she ate tasted completely different from anything that came in plastic. She was right, it was different, and that difference was everything. I want to take you back to that rooftop in Joppa. It is midday. The Mediterranean is spread out below the city walls, blue and wide and bright in the afternoon sun. Peter is on the upper level of Simon the tanner's house. He is hungry. He has come up to pray while the meal is being prepared below. And the sky opens, a great sheet, descending slowly, held at its four corners by something Peter cannot see, lowering itself toward where he stands on the stone roof, and inside it, every kind of creature, things that walk, things that fly, things that come from the sea, all of it together in the same sheet, lowered from the same heaven by the same hand. Rise, kill, eat. He refuses 3 times. 3 times the voice answers the same way. What God has made clean, do not call common. Peter is still on that rooftop turning it over in his mind when the men from Cornelius arrive at the gate below. He goes with them. He walks into the house of a Roman, something he never would have done the day before. He sits at a table set with food the law had called unclean his entire life. He eats, and he understands. The wall came down. Not just the wall between Jew and Gentile, not just the wall about who belongs at the table, the wall between what God made and what human tradition had called forbidden. What he filled the sea with is clean. What he put in the water is for you. The early Christians who spread across the Mediterranean coastline after that moment went back to their fishing villages and their coastal markets and their clay pots of olive oil. They took what the sea gave them and they prepared it the way their grandmothers had prepared it, over fire, with salt, with garlic and herbs and lemon. They did not need theology to make it taste good. They needed a fire and a good net and the herbs growing beside the path to the water. And God, the same one who filled the sheet, the same one who spoke to Peter 3 times, had put all of it there. Let me give you something to take home. 3 things, starting today. The first thing you can do right now, buy wild shrimp. Those 2 words matter more than anything else in the seafood section. Wild caught. Gulf of Mexico wild shrimp is among the best available. Alaskan and Pacific Northwest wild shrimp are excellent. Frozen wild shrimp is completely fine. It is often frozen on the boat within hours of being caught, which means it is genuinely fresher than the fresh shrimp at the seafood counter that was previously frozen and thawed days earlier. Leave the shell on when you cook it. The shell protects the flesh. It keeps moisture in. It carries additional minerals. And it tells you when the shrimp is done. When the shell chars slightly at the edges over high heat, the flesh inside is perfectly cooked. Look at the ingredient list. It should say one thing: shrimp. If it lists sodium triplephosphate or anything else you cannot read out loud without stopping, it has been chemically treated to retain water weight. Put it back. The second thing is about how you cook it. The ancient coastal world did not bread it and drop it in seed oil. They did not drown it in processed sauce. They grilled it or simmered it in olive oil with garlic and fresh herbs. That is still the right way. Take wild shrimp shell on. Toss it with cold-pressed olive oil, crushed raw garlic, fresh dill, and sea salt. Grill over high heat, 2 to 3 minutes per side until the shell chars at the edges. Squeeze fresh lemon over the top as soon as it comes off the heat. That is the whole recipe: fire, oil, garlic, dill, lemon. People have been making this same meal on Mediterranean shores for 3,000 years. You do not need anything else. The third thing ties everything back to the ground. Grow the herbs that go with it. Dill, mentioned in Matthew chapter 23, valuable enough in the ancient world to be tithed at the temple, is the natural pairing for shrimp across every ancient Mediterranean culture. It grows in a pot on any porch. Plant seeds a 1/4 inch deep in a 10-inch container. 6 hours of sunlight. Water every 2 to 3 days. First harvest in 6 to 8 weeks. It self-seeds freely. Plant it once and it returns on its own season after season. Garlic, which we have covered in depth on this channel, grows in almost any climate. Plant a single clove in autumn and pull a full bulb in summer. It costs almost nothing and changes every dish it enters. If you live somewhere warm enough, a single lemon tree on a patio or balcony supplies more lemon than any household can use. If you live somewhere cooler, a potted Meyer lemon kept near a window produces real fruit through the winter months. 3 plants, all of them connected to Scripture, all of them simple to grow, all of them turning a piece of wild shrimp grilled over high heat into a meal that connects directly to the earliest believers who ate beside the sea. God seeded the herbs beside the water. He filled the water with what feeds us. And he told Peter, and through Peter, everyone who came after that, what he made is clean. The meal was always waiting. It still is. 2,000 years ago, a man stood on a rooftop in Joppa and heard a voice tell him 3 times that nothing God made is common or unclean. He walked down from that rooftop changed, not because of what he heard in a theological sense, but because the world had just gotten larger, the table had just gotten wider, the sea had just been returned to the people who lived beside it, and somewhere on that ancient Mediterranean coastline, with the afternoon sun dropping toward the water and a fire burning low on a stone terrace, someone grilled shrimp with olive oil and garlic and fresh herbs the same way their family had always done it and sat down to eat. Not a superfood, not a health protocol, not a trend, just food, real food, from a sea that God filled and called good, wild caught, shell on, grilled simple, with the herbs that grow beside the path to the water. The same meal the early church ate on those shores 2,000 years ago. It is still good enough. It always was. If this fed your spirit the way wild shrimp feeds the body, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you never miss what we uncover next. We go deeper every single week. The sea is still full and the fire is still warm. Go eat well.